First order of business, I did not feel like doing my hair, so we're wearing a bonnet today. But we are reviewing my squishy collection. I'm gonna let you guys know what's good to spend your money on, what's not, because some of these are definitely scams. Yeah, 6 of these are homemade, so I'm gonna let you know if that's even worth your time either. Let's get started. Up first is my Smishmart grape. Here she is in the flesh. It's pretty big. It was $6 at Five Below, and I think it's a great deal. I mean, it's only $6. It is pretty big. 2 things that I have an issue with. First, the size can be a little much for if you're doing on the go. If you're going somewhere, say like a doctor's appointment, you want to bring it in your bag, you need a pretty big bag to bring it in. Another thing, there is a scent that is on the squishy, and when you first get it, it can just be a bit much. But overall, I do think it's worth it. I definitely think it's a good buy, and if somebody were to ask me if I would rebuy it again if this one breaks, it would definitely be a yes. And now what you guys have all been waiting for, the ASMR. Also, in advance, I'm sorry if you guys don't like nail digging with nails. As long as these, there's nothing else I can do. So continuing with Five Below squishies, we are going to move on to these sugar bears. I do have to say my favorite of the pack is my green one, and there is a very specific reason for that. So I guess when they were making it, they glued it on the back, and it looks like he has a little bikini. So are these worth your money? Yes, I would definitely say they are worth your money, especially for getting 4 for $6. Next up, we have this heart Taba squishy. Is it worth the money? I would say yes. It's not a bad squishy. It just depends on if you like Tabas or not. Is it something I would rebuy? No, because I feel like there are other better Taba squishies that you could buy. But for the price, this isn't bad. My next squishy is also a Taba squishy, and it is from Five Below as well. It's my little cube. Personally, I do like this one more than the other Taba squishy that I have. My only complaint is that the bag broke pretty quickly after getting it, but the same happened with my other Taba squishy because I do like to keep them in the bags rather than taking them out. Out of my 2 Taba squishies, this is probably the one I would be more likely to rebuy. So I would say yes, this is worth your money, especially for the price. I'm gonna do both of these together since they're from the same Sugar Swaps thing. This is the Sugar Swaps Quokka, and I hope that's saying that right. And then this is the Sugar Swaps Baby. I decided to keep my Quokka in the bag because after I took out this one from the bag, the air pockets did get a little bit more prominent. And the face did come off pretty quickly, like in less than an hour. So I just kept the Quokka in that bag. But neither of them are bad squishies, even if the face came off. If that's not something you care about, then I definitely recommend buying them because they are very soft. Even for sugar textures, obviously if they get cold, they get a bit firmer, but they're pretty good. Quokka does have a little tail on the back. Next up is my mesh ball. As you can see, mesh ball with no mesh. I cut it off because I felt like it was gonna pop faster, and it just feels better when you don't have that mesh on there. Would I rebuy this? Yes. It feels a bit different compared to all of the other squishies that I have. It has like this slime texture, which a good amount of squishies don't really come with unless they're mesh balls. So I definitely would rebuy this one, and for the price, it's not bad. Time for my squishy that's not really a squishy, but is a squishy. My little goldfish. It is a goop pet for the goldfish series. Some people consider it squishy, some don't. It really depends on who you ask. I think it is, and I don't really have any complaints with this. Again, it's one of those squishies that's unlike any of the ones I have already, so I would rebuy it, especially since it's so cheap. My only complaint would be that the eye is rubbing off a little bit, but for me, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna review all of my paper squishies in one go. What I would say about paper squishies is that if you're gonna make them, go big or go home, because I made this bread really tiny and I'm just not the biggest fan of it, especially since it does fold in at the top and then I have to squeeze it out sometimes to get it back up. So I'd say if you're making like a circular one, make sure it's big, but if you're gonna make it tiny, I'd say don't waste your time. Honestly, the same with any rectangular ones. Trying to make them bigger. This one is really cute, so I probably would remake this again just because it didn't take me too long and it is adorable. But the squish, not the best. I do find this one oddly satisfying though. Triangle shape. I wouldn't waste my time no matter the size. I don't know why this was so much harder than any of my other squishies to make. I also filled this one up with yarn instead of cotton, and I'm not the biggest fan, especially since over here it did pop. But yeah, I'm definitely triangle shapes. I'd say avoid them. Next is my little bulldog ramen. It is so cute. My only complaint is that it is a little bit loud. Like you can hear the air. But other than that, it's pretty cute, and I'd say if you like paper squishies, I'd say it's worth your time. Overall, out of all of my paper squishies, I would say the little apple juice is my favorite, probably because it's not as loud as the other ones. You can really hear the bulldog ramen. It is very loud, and I'm just not a big fan of that, especially when it comes to like whistling noises. But would I recommend them? Probably not. They're just not for me. Moving on to my squishies that I got at 7-Eleven. My dumplings, and just to start this off, do not buy these. The price is insane. For both of these, it was $25. First up, we have my metallic dumpling. This is what it looks like. The face has rubbed off, but I have had it for a good while, so I guess it lasted pretty long. It is like this gel water texture, and I personally am not a huge fan of it just because I feel like when I play with it, it's gonna pop since my nails are so long. It does feel really good. I just like, I'm always scared that it's gonna break when I do play with it. So if I were to trim down my nails, I would play with it, but I have my nails wrong right now, so I don't. For my other dumpling, I have a yellow one. The face wore off the day I got it, so. Since this one has a little less filling inside, it's definitely less likely to pop. One of the problems about this one is, if you can see at the top where this little nub is, when I stretch it, it's got like a ring around it, so I feel like this is really fragile and always going to pop. But that doesn't really change whether I have long or short nails, so I play with this one more often, and I actually really like the texture, but for the price point, neither of these are worth it. Jumping back into homemade squishies, next we have my little beaver. I don't have too much to say about this squishy. I probably wouldn't remake it because I didn't really think it through when I did make it. So it looks a little bit morbid when it's coming out of its middle. When I was making it, I was thinking about those little toots things that they sell at Five Below, and I kind of wanted to make something similar to that because I couldn't find them at mine. And it came out a little crazy. So would I recommend making it? I'd say if you really want to, you can try it, but I probably wouldn't make it again. Here we have the beginning of one of those DIY smushers. Not much to say about it. It is a little loud if you squeeze it too hard. It is pretty slow rising though. I probably wouldn't make this again just because it was a little tedious compared to all of my other homemade squishies. Next up are my little coconut oil balls from Amazon. These are definitely a sugar texture. Yeah, I'd say no because it was a scam. I knew that it was when I was going to buy it. I really didn't mind because I knew Amazon didn't have any coconut oil ones, and I looked at the reviews beforehand. I just really wanted squishies at that point, but these were a shameful $17 for the two. Compare that to the 4 sugar textures that I got for $6 at Five Below. So if you're looking for good coconut oil balls, make sure you're reading the reviews because these are definitely not it. Here is my cheese squishy. The skin is so cute. I definitely do love that. This was marketed as a Vaseline squishy, and as you can see, it is definitely not. I did read the reviews and a good amount of people were getting the proper squishy. Not sure why I didn't really feel like disputing the charge or anything, so I'm just gonna keep her. But I definitely say make sure you're reading the reviews. Even if you see that one little review that says I didn't get what I ordered, maybe take that into account before buying it. So for buying this again, it would probably be a no, specifically from that seller. But if I do find a more credible link to a Vaseline cheese, I will definitely pick one up. Here is my little diamond. I got it from Temu. My biggest complaint is that the top stopper keeps coming off and I have to re-glue it. I had it for like 3 days and I had to re-glue it 3 times. So would I rebuy it? No, just because the maintenance to keep it together is a bit much. It is a very nice squishy though, and I do love the texture. Next, I have my butter squishy. This is the only foam squishy that I have, so it's good to have one in my collection, but the smell is a bit strong, and I didn't know it was going to be scented when I first got it. That was my bad though. I should have read the description a little bit better, but the scent was definitely very strong. It does smell like popcorn. I'd say more like kettle corn. It doesn't have too much of like that straight butter scent. It's more sweet, but it's just really strong. You can smell it before you take it out of the package. It was very cheap though. The shipping does take a while since it was Temu, but compared to some of the ones I looked at in person, I went to 7-Eleven and they had one of these for $10 when I bought this one for $2. So I definitely say buy it online rather than in person. It does feel very nice, but just the scent is a bit much for me. So I probably wouldn't rebuy it, but I think it's good to have this texture, at least one. Next, I have my crunchy soap. Here it is in the little box. I can definitely say that this is adorable, and I love the box, and I love just the shape. It's so cute. The only thing is that it does break very easily. The skin is just so thin and cheaply made that it keeps breaking. It really sucks because I do really like this squishy. Like, the sound is amazing, but it just breaks so often that I can't really bring myself to play with it as much. Would I rebuy this one specifically? No, just because the upkeep is just too much. If you do find a seller that may be a little bit more expensive, but the reviews say that it's more durable and doesn't break, then I definitely recommend it. Here I have my Vaseline peanut, and unlike my cheese, it is definitely true to the listing. It is very fun to play with. I've let other people play with it as well because I do bring it to work, and this is definitely a fan favorite. It is a little hard at times to get back into the peanut form, but that's a minor problem. I don't really care about how it ends up looking. I'm gonna play with it regardless. Yeah, I would definitely rebuy this. Next up, I have a little off-brand Smushers. I got this at one of those carts in the middle of the mall hallways. I would definitely say ask the price before you buy it. I did that. I don't know why I was willing to pay that much, but this was 20 bucks. The eyelid and like decoration parts are a little bit like top of Squishies, and this is just like a nice stress ball. But for me, $20 is too much to ever spend again on one Squishy. Here is my little slushy texture squishy. This one was one of those ones where it's like random, you don't get to pick the color. It is a bit smaller than I expected, but I do love this squishy. It is so nice, so soft, and the texture is amazing. The only problem I do have with it is that if you squeeze down a little bit too hard, I don't know what's inside of it, but it is a little bit sharp. So one time I poked myself and I thought I broke the squishy, but I didn't. Would I buy from that exact listing again? Probably not, just because it is really tiny. I'd probably get myself a bigger one, but the texture is amazing, so I would definitely buy this texture again. Finally, I have my coconut oil squishy. I got this one off of AliExpress, and it was true to the listing. It is a coconut oil squishy, and it definitely has that no rebound. Would I buy this again? Yes, I have nothing but good things to say about this one, and it's just amazing. So that's it for today's video. I know, it was amazing. You guys can clap. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.